in the background? Yeah, good. Nice. For yourself, you are love. Think for yourself, you are love. If you can see what matters, love will be your vision of tomorrow matters. Your visions of tomorrow matter. If everyone can see the picture, then love will lead us there. Love will lead, oh love will lead. Love will lead us there. Love the things you've always done. Love those things you've always done. Before you see your history, love will lead us there. Love will lead, love will lead, love will lead us there. Around us, in our hearts, alive with you, my space. There's water on Good morning.
That was fabulous. Thank you so much, Sky. And now we're going to pull the great trick of bringing up a third person's PowerPoint. Pray, pray. And I'm going to do this one and share. I don't know, I don't need that there. You go away. And how does it look to you? Looks very good.
Looks good.
I don't know what it's going to look like on YouTube, but there's only so many things I can know. This was a featurette that I created 2 years ago the solar calendar featurette. And this time of year, we start getting a little itchy because the autumn equinox is coming up. And I'm going to do an autumn equinox featurette on September the 22nd, which is before the equinox. This one was inspired by things we're going to see in these photographs, and it's a collection of different structures, many of them ancient in the world, that are aligned with the sun. They are calendars in their own way. The first picture we're looking at is Stonehenge at the summer solstice. So on June 21st, the sun is positioned there. And it also comes up in between those two pillars. And I think these calendars were important in ancient lives. They didn't have much else to go by. And then one of my favorites is Chartres Cathedral, where Chartres Cathedral was built in 1100, more or less, and it's 11 stories tall. I mean, you can put an 11-story building inside of it. It's really, I've been there, it's humongous. So when they built it, they left out one pane of stained glass here in this upper part of this picture on this window. And on June the 21st, the sun comes through that hole and hits a gold-headed nail. And it's really far, it's not just under the window, it's across the way. So it was built to be a calendar too, and know exactly when the summer solstice is. Then, this is Mashout in Scotland, and it was built in 2800 BC. It's a burial mound, and it's huge. This is how it looks from the outside, and this is how it looks from the inside on the winter solstice. And all the light coming in the windows is the sun. That's natural light that are all positioned to catch the sun on the winter solstice. Then in our own United States, in Texas, we've got pictographs on painted on rock, and these are dated about 1300 to 1700 Common Era. And on the winter solstice, this particular one, this is a sphere of light that always points to this exact place. And this is on the winter solstice, but they have about 12 of the pictographs, 1500 in total, but 12 of them have solar interaction. If you know when to look, you'll see why they were put where they were put. And then one more of this kind in Germany. This is the Goseck Circle. This is a model of it. It's very, very beautiful. It was built in 4900 BC. It's huge. And these are concentric fences. You can see that people probably lived in the middle part like a little village, and then maybe they had their cattle in a circle a little bit farther out. And when you look at it during the winter solstice, it is very bright. And we have then, this is a photograph of it. It was reconstructed. And notice that it is a fence all the way around, because that's my segue. About 2 years ago, I created this because what I really wanted to talk about, although I think these are beautiful and I love them and I'm glad that I researched them, what I really wanted to talk about was my backyard. And it started 2 years ago on, August the 15th, 2022 at 7:45 a.m. This is what my backyard looked like. And that's facing east. I happened to be taking my dog out and taking pictures, and I didn't even see a lot of these effects until I looked at the pictures because I was looking into the sun and I was taking random shots. But you can see all these energetic objects that show up. And the next slide was the next year. And I mark my calendar for the middle of August so that I don't forget. And this year I went out like at 6:30 a.m. for 2 or 3 weeks so I could take pictures and see what was going on. So the second year I did this, other things showed up, beautiful things, things that I didn't know where they came from. But one thing I am told consistently is that this is lens flare. These don't exist. They're a flaw in the iPhone camera. But you know, things can be more than one thing at a time. Yeah, okay, it can be that, and it can have great meaning too. So this is the only one I have from 1 year ago because this year was a breakthrough. And this year I had the notion, what if I tilted the camera and worked with the lens? And I got pictures like this. This looks like the chakras coming down on a sunbeam. And these little critters kept on showing up. Look at this picture. It's just a beautiful picture. But the little blue dot and the little orange dot, those are really two separate things because they aren't always lined up exactly the same way. And I named them Puzzle and Riddle because they are characters in a Dean Koontz book that I love, and it's a very positive book. I'd also added some bottles there on the fence to have some reflection there. And it was like Puzzle and Riddle move. This is them too. And another iteration with his sun coming up. And then this one, it looks like Puzzle and Riddle went up to join the display. I can just hear them saying, "Oh, me too, I'm a beautiful bottle." And they line themselves up perfectly with this display. Synchronistically, we might say. It's been fascinating, and I want to do a whole lot more with these photographs and ideas, but I wanted to share. I didn't want to wait. I wanted to let you know a little bit right now. So this, of course, is looking east in my backyard. I live in a citrus-sized duplex. This is nothing fancy. This is looking south, so it's just to the left. And we have set this up as part of the autumn moon gathering we're going to have on Tuesday the 17th. This is part of what we're going to use in our rituals. And then the western view, if you turn around, is where we have set up wheels in the past. This is one we did a couple years ago. And we do plan to have a wheel on the 17th, but it's not going to be a medicine wheel. We're not going to build it. We're just going to sit around it and do other very spiritual and entertaining things. So that was the first plug on the autumn gathering, but it's in this very same part of this yard. I've never done real thorough research. I haven't gone out on different months to see what they look like in the rainbows. I've looked at it 3 years now, and I've shared with you what I figured out. And for our goodbye shot, we had my dog Bailey, who died last December. And this was last year, and this is kind of like, prophesying he's going over the Rainbow Bridge. So from Bailey and me, we thank you. Thank you for listening. And that's the end of the featurette. And then we're going to have a slide to bless the prayer requests. We know that when we meet at the community center, we do have a prayer box and slips you can fill out, but you can always send us a prayer request at our email at info@unitycitrusheights.org. And Silent Unity is also available to you. And know that when we do bless others with prayer, we feel close to them. We hold them in our hearts. And the oneness with God that we feel expands to include all those we are holding in prayer. And we imagine each beloved enfolded in all the necessary ingredients for a joyful life, a meaningful life, a life filled with company and laughter and a few tears. And as we release each person into their own power, we affirm they are free, free to discover whatever it brings them wholeness and peace and prosperity. We say thank you, God. Amen. And now we're going to introduce Sky Nelson Isaacs.
Here I am. Hi, everybody. How's your morning so far? It's just wonderful to be here. And you can hear me okay? Let me know if not. It's so funny. I'm just reflecting on this morning. I was asking about, should I start 1 minute before 10 or 11 or right at 11, and noticing the filter that I'm looking at the world through of, what makes me feel safe and like I know what to do and how to feel comfortable. And I'm going to talk about those filters and synchronicity as an echo chamber, how the world shows up to reflect what's going on inside of us, and how we can start to notice what's going on inside of us. And the more we notice it, for me, the more I notice it, the more I get to choose what I create next. So even though I might be experiencing some aspect of the world that is not as desirable for me, like my frustration, anxiety, or anger, or disappointment, and I'm going to say that's part of a color wheel, and part of the color wheel of joy, which is the white light. Joy is the white light of the universe, of space-time. And when we're experiencing one aspect of that, we can remember it's part of joy, and experience and release the anger or frustration or anxiety, and put it back into the joy that it's part of. And that's what we create in the echo chamber. We don't reinforce the experience we're currently having if we don't want to. We bring it back to its source, which is this beautiful space-time of joy that we live in. And I'm a physicist. I study space-time, so this is my understanding from a scientific point of view. And some of this is really new for me, new ideas in this past summer. So excited to share it with you. I love the daily word around letting go of letting God. And when we're experiencing overwhelm, how do we behave? And for me, I'm experiencing a number of things. One is rehabilitating my hands from the tremors that I've been having for the past while. We've talked about that. And experiencing a lot of healing. And today I played piano for you, and that felt so good. I'm learning how to bang again. Bang, 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 hit it hard and use my muscles. Here's my tool. I squish the earth. Strengthen my hands. Strengthen the joy muscle, right? So that's part of what I'm doing. I'm practicing piano. I played a little Suzuki there for you, which I learned when I was 5 years old. So I'm going back to my roots. And then I also am in a new band that I'm really excited about. I let go of playing music about a year ago because I felt like I had to choose discern what was really relevant for me in my path. And I let go of it. And it was hard because of my tremors. It was hard to play. And it's coming back to me in a way that I didn't expect. Some friends of mine from elementary school are in a band that's been playing around the Bay Area for years, and they invited me to play the piano for them. And it's just like, we're playing in San Francisco at this big nightclub next week. Oh my God. It's like unexpected. But it's not just here's a gift. It's like, you got to work for it. I got to practice these songs. I learned 10 songs in a week. So I'm learning to be nice to myself in that process and to discern what's the important thing I'm going to bring into this echo chamber to develop in synchronicity. So I want to start with the story of butterflies. 2 years ago, I was going through a similar time where I had a lot of options. I was doing a lot of Clubhouse. If you remember that application, the social media thing during the pandemic, doing a lot of conversations, feeling like each one of those conversations might turn into a bigger opportunity, wanting to get some bigger opportunities. I was involved in a Black Lives Matter fundraiser, and for a travel to Washington, D.C. protest that was happening. I was promoting my old book, Leap to Wholeness. I was writing a new potential book, and the midterm elections were happening. I was involved in that, volunteering, and I was doing my research, trying to publish a paper. And I saw this one day, I saw 2 butterflies in my yard kind of going at it on this milkweed plant. And 2 weeks later, there was a bunch of caterpillars. Let me show you a caterpillar. There, like, had it. Those guys. We looked up what are those? We looked up on our phones, and they were indeed, what are they called? The big kind, butterflies. I forget the name, but this kind. And in a couple weeks, we started to see them crawling across the yard, under the car, under the front door, under buckets, under the fence. Here's the fence. I'm going to show you my front yard, Carla. And so there were cocoons appearing. We saw them weaving cocoons. We counted 35 of them in our yard. And we were like, we're going to be inundated with butterflies. It's amazing. And in my life, I was having all these opportunities, right? The fundraiser, the books, Clubhouse conversations. And I was so excited about all these things happening, this abundance. It felt like total abundance. Just felt like abundance. And then a couple of them hatched. We saw them come out of their shell, flap their wings. They're so fragile and tender. This one is super soft and wet because it just hatched. They take about 24 hours to dry out before they can fly. Just hanging. And there are little tongues that come out the front that move around, soaking up air. But there was only a couple that hatched. And we were so excited, and then suddenly this cold front moved in, and it was so cold that they died. So most of them didn't hatch ever. And I was disappointed. I was kind of scared. Like, what's the metaphor here? Did I not, is my life also not fulfilling itself? And indeed, the projects I was working on didn't complete. The fundraiser I was part of, only a few people showed up to the music, and I made most of the donations myself. The Clubhouse was not nourishing for me. Conversations online. My books were not, I wasn't feeling confident in that. And so none of these things unfolded into anything bigger. And I noticed my hope for the many, many, many things that could happen and how I behaved in that case. And I didn't actually invest all the way, 100% into any of them. And I saw my power as a creator, as a synchronicity person, which all of us are. And I missed a piece of it, which is the completion, the discernment. What am I going to really focus on? What am I going to bring into this world? And it's not about destiny. Like, it seemed kind of like I should work on this, I should work on that. It's all important to me. I'm supposed to be this person. I'm supposed to be author. I'm supposed to be as whatever. But I have to really look at what's important to me right now. What do I want to create? I'm going to get to create something later too. So I don't have to do everything at once. What's important to me right now? I muted myself. And the next year, there was more butterflies, but this time I was like not so excited. So I was nervous about them dying. And only 2 of them hatched. There was only 2 cocoons to begin with. Not 35 cocoons, just 2 cocoons. This time it was more realistic, like something might actually unfold here. And in my life at that time, my daughter had just started high school, 9th grade, and she didn't have a high school teacher, science teacher. And I was starting to realize that I was cut out to teach that class. It was like my skill set. And I was really nervous to go back, but I was realizing I would really regret it if I didn't go back and like have a year in her school with her. That was a priceless opportunity. And my fear was less heavy than my joy at that possibility. And by October, first week of October, I was submitting the application and I started. And that was the week the first butterfly hatched. And I saw, yes, this reflects me. This reflects my success. I committed to this. I was afraid of it. I worked through the blocks and obstacles, and I'm here. I'm showing up 100% to do this. And a second butterfly hatched, and I was also working parallel to that on my research that I've been trying to finish for 3 or 4 years. And indeed, that made it to the next level, and within the next 6 months got published. So I'm excited to share that. I think I shared last time that that's been published, and feel really like complete with this part of myself that wanted to do that in my lifetime. So this year, there's only 2 things that came up, 2 butterflies, 2 big accomplishments at that time. I feel really good about both of them. They both changed my life for the long term. And I didn't need 35 options. I just needed 2 that I was committed to. And it's funny because right around the time that this happened, the year before, when the 35 butterflies did not survive, I played music for you guys here, and Reverend Carla gave a talk on Bluebeard and the Forbidden Key. And you might remember that's a story of a man who lives in a castle, and he invites a princess to live with him as his bride. And he goes away for the weekend and gives her the keys to the castle. There's 100 keys. She's allowed to open any door she wants except one. And of course, she's curious, and she opens all the doors and finally opens that last one. And in there, she finds the beheaded past brides of the prince. And realizes that's her fate as well, or potentially. And it's a deep story. There's a lot of metaphor there about trusting ourselves and the hesitancy to even go to that castle in the first place and not trusting your gut. I love what Reverend Carla talked about, like when you have a sense that it's not the right path for you, trust that sense and don't just say, well, it'll maybe work out. Like, no, go for what your gut is telling you to diverge towards. And at that time in my life, the message for me was all these things that I was potentially gonna create, all these marriages in my life, to my activism, to my book writing, to music, that none of them lived. And it was an intense synchronicity to see that story and be like, 100 brides dead, but or whatever it was, but I want one of them to live. So I love that synchronicity. I always remember that timing. So we're talking about thriving butterflies as metaphors for well-chosen goals. And in this echo chamber, if you just picture for a moment the world around you in your space right now in your room, imagine that's all there is. Imagine that is all there is. And synchronicities are going to appear. Maybe it's like the daily word that you chose, Ashley, came out of the book at us. And it's an echo chamber for what we're experiencing, needing to experience, yearning for. This past summer, I was sitting in this very spot in my room, and I was feeling very anxious and upset about something I'd wanted to create that I felt I hadn't done enough to make happen, and it hadn't worked. And I was scared and anxious and worried about how do I make it right. And it was such an existential moment for me of like, I repeated the pattern in my life again and again and again. I was able to see suddenly in stark relief the filter of my mind looking at the world around me as this pattern of failure. And then that was so starkly in my vision as a filter, I could see through it also. And beyond it, I saw this underlying fabric of space-time, and it looked like this. I mean, of course, I was experiencing something real, which was anxiety and worry and stress and self-loathing, I want to say, criticism. And that was all because there are some consequences to what I had been able to choices I had made. Things happen in the world. But underlying all that, my attachments to things happening a certain way is space-time. Space-time is just smiling at me. You go, buddy. You got this. Keep trying. And I saw that I did have a desire to make my life work the way I wanted to work. That's not untrue. That's not God's desire for me or God's need of me. God is smiling at me. And this, to me, this is joy. It's just white light. And I was seeing a certain color. I was seeing anxiety about a certain situation. But it's part of joy. It's just a filtered version of the white light of joy. Nervousness, happiness, embarrassment, irritation, or suddenly I see them all as these aspects of joy. And the reason I know this is I'm going to see if you think this is true. Take a minute. Think about somebody really special to you. Could be your father or mother, or your partner, friend, or a kid. What do you love? And I'm thinking about my wife right now. And I feel joy when I think about my wife and our relationship for the long term. And I want you to think about somebody that you feel some just joy when you think about that person in your life. Doesn't mean that there's an absence of irritation. I get irritated in my wife a lot. And I feel judged by her and it's defensive. I also feel excited to spend time with her. I feel embarrassed sometimes when I say stupid stuff. I feel guilty when I don't plan ahead. All these things are part of my life with her. What are the things that are part of your life? All the feelings, all the experiences. And with this special relationship, it's part of joy. We look back on our life and on relationships, and I think we see joy. We might remember the rage or the fear, anxiety, anxiousness, or the happiness or the silliness. It's all part of this picture of the person that we're with, and it's special. It's joy. So joy is not positive, it's not negative, it's all the things we're capable of put together. Did anybody feel that with somebody in their life? Yeah, good. So why does this help you? I'm raising my hand. I'll leave it there. I think this helps me because I can remember that I'm going to experience a variety of things in my day with people. And I used to expect to experience smoothness with the people I love, but I actually don't experience turbulence and ups and downs. And now I see that it's all part of joy. I'm going to look back and feel joyful about this moment. I'm going to look back and feel joyful about this moment, even if it's hard. I just traveled to Europe in London. I was in England, where the Stonehenge is, and I was in Scotland, where the other thing was, in Germany over the summer. So that was pretty synchronistic. And that was a great trip. But in the moment, it was really arduous, like moving around by buses and trains and schedules and beds we didn't know where we were going to be, and planning meals together and being with the same two people, my Dana and Ellie, my daughter, every day. It's like hard work, but it was, looking back, it's all this joy. So we're going to look back on these experiences and experience joy. So I can look at the feeling I'm having right now, impatience, whatever it is, and remember that it's part of a bigger context of joy. And then I'm in an echo chamber. So I'm going to release that one little aspect, that filtered light color of irritation. I'm going to allow it to move through me and go back to its source of white light and remember the joy that this context, this moment really is. When we're trying to get the bus home from Harry Potter Land in London, and the bus is late, and there's only one more bus of the day, we're uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, but I'm remembering this is part of the white light of joy. I'm going to look back and be like, that was a beautiful time. And then I reinforce that. So instead of getting snippy with Dana and Ellie, which was easy to do, I reinforce the sense that this is something I'm going to look back on with joy. And I just remember that. And then I speak from that place, even though I do feel irritated and uncomfortable. I don't want to deny that, but I'm going to choose which I'm going to reinforce. And then the synchronicities come from that echo chamber. The next thing that they say reinforces that, or the bus comes on time, or the bus is comfortable and warm, or whatever it is. So we avoid turning experiences into repetitive stories of our frustration, and we go back to the joy of the bigger context. That life is the smiley face of space-time. Sometimes just take a minute and close your eyes. Can you see the icon of the emoticon of the smiley face? When you're going through your week this week, just sometimes close your eyes and remember this picture. Smiley face, space-time staring at you. And so on the right here is all the feelings of the color wheel. And I put the happy face in the middle. That's joy. It's just everything's coming out of that joy. And it's a beautiful physical model because we're just filtering down what the source of joy into these experiences that we have. And in Chat GPT, I plugged in this idea, and it came out with the thing on the left, which is kind of weird. Rage, frustration, love, desiree, appointient, despire, all these things that don't even exist. But I thought that was pretty funny. It's a creative idea of all the feelings coming from the white light. So I want to make sure we wrap up. What do I want to leave you with? Ask yourself not to do this. Picture a tree of all the possibilities. Picture a tree of all your choices right now. What choices do you have? Think about one choice in particular. What you're going to do with your afternoon, whether you're going to attend an event this week that you're invited to, whatever it is. Picture a tree of all the possibilities, and that's one branch. Imagine that future. Feel into how you will feel about having ended up on that branch. Feel into how you will feel about ending up on that branch, choosing that thing. And here's the key to invite more synchronicity in the echo chamber. Ask not, what does this choice lead to? Not, what does this choice lead to? Instead, ask, what does this choice relate to? What does this choice relate to? And how important is that to me? What you're doing is not worrying about exactly what you're causing to happen, whether you're going to be successful or not. You're investing in a part of your life that matters to you, not worrying about the outcome, something that relates to something that matters to you. An example for me is I make some volunteer phone calls to voters around the country, and sometimes I spend an hour just leaving messages for people. And I don't even know that those are real numbers. Like maybe nobody listens to those messages at all. It's just a wasted breath. So I'm not worried about what does this choice lead to. Maybe it leads to nothing. Nobody hears my message. But it relates to my desire to participate in the bigger picture of the election process and being in democracy. So I feel very comfortable knowing that I've participated and invested myself in that, creating those synchronicities for the future. So ask not what your choice leads to directly, but what is it related to in your life that matters? That's a way to discern what you're going to reinforce. So the universe is always smiling at you, filled with joy. Can you see it? Can you feel it? You close your eyes, can you see the happy face? Remember that when you're hurting or confused by life, you're seeing a part of that happy face, a color of that white light, serving you in a particular way. And then remember that it's all part of joy. And choose your path accordingly to that. That's what I have to share this morning for you. This is a song about living.
I'm gonna live in love. I'm gonna do what it takes to let go. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. Everything that I look at, I get attached. But I'm not gonna give weight to the wounds of my past. When it's me that will lose if I choose to resent what I have. But since I've got another chance, I'm gonna live in love. I'm gonna do what it takes to let go. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. everything that I look at, I get sucked in. And I'm already miles beyond it by the time I begin. And the details of the moment are already the past. But since I've got another chance, I'm gonna live in love. I'm gonna do what it takes to let go. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. I'm gonna hold your heart as precious as anything that I know. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. I'm gonna live in love. I'm gonna do what it takes to let go. And I'm gonna take my seat, let love run the show. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna hold your heart as precious as anything that I know. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sky. Thank you. It just synchronistically hit home. I really needed your lesson today. And I really appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
And guess what, ladies and germs? We get another PowerPoint. And we're going for the love offering. Okay. You know that our church is made up of our energy and our love and our intent and our support in time, talent, and treasure. And just know that you are appreciated for every way that you support this church and one another, because that's what it's about. It's this village that we're creating. And we thank you for your love offering. There are many ways that you can make your gift. And let us join together with the affirmation on the slide. Together. I give thanks for my new vision of God as my infinite, constant, abundant source. Let's say that again. I give thanks for my new vision of God as my infinite, constant, abundant source. And just so it is. Amen. We have a few announcements this morning. If we can have the announcement slide next. Amy, are you going to put up the announcement slide? Okay. I mean, you're muted. I don't know what's going on. Chat. Well, we can start talking about them even without the slide. There's only a few. And we'll just start with the autumn moon gathering on Tuesday, September the 17th at my house with the faithful Amy Hansen being our partner in mischief that night. We've had a lot of good ideas, and it's going to have a potluck, an autumn themed potluck. We're going to explore the meaning of community as we break bread together and share in squash soup and pumpkin bread, I assume. So there'll be more information, and it is also written up in the newsletter this week. Next Sunday, we're meeting at the community center, and Bob Brock, who's always a favorite of ours, is going to be our speaker. You know, when Bob walks in the community center, at least and I think we all just sigh with relief. It's like Daddy's home. It's like everything's going to be okay. He knows how to do everything. He's really smart. He's really kind, and we're really glad he's part of our community. Then on the 15th, again, we'll be in person at the community center, and Lisa will be speaking about Lifted Up by Angels. This and the autumn equinox gathering and other events are all in the September calendar, which are in the newsletter. It comes out every Friday and on our website. So stay tuned. We look forward to seeing you. Now you prepare yourself. We're going to sing the peace song, and rumor has it that once this slide goes up, the music starts. So ready, set.
Wait a second, Carla, can you see the announcement slide now?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I had it on and you said you couldn't see it, so I was like, okay, good. Just making sure.
Okay, that's good.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Now please join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God
Light of God
surrounds
surrounds us.
us. The love
The
of
love
God
of God
enfolds us.
enfolds us.
The
The
power of
power
God
of God
protects us.
protects us.
The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week. Please plan to sit and stay for a chat after the service, and we'll have a good thing going on.
We got a good thing going on around here. We got a good thing going on around here. You can see it on each and every face. There's a sweet, sweet spirit in this place. We got a good thing going on around here. We got a good thing going on. We got a good thing going on. We got a good thing going on. We got a good thing
All righty, tidy. If you need to leave now, thank you for coming, and we'll see you soon. If you're staying, get comfortable. We'll end the recordings. Amy, you're going to do that part. I know you need to leave, Amy. So,
And then you'll stop the Facebook
um,
or YouTube.